Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for stopping by again. In today's tutorial, we are going to be doing a deep dive into patterns, and I do think that this tutorial is going to be in two parts. So the first part, we're just going to be taking a look at the pattern envelope, all the information on the outside, and then in the next video, we are actually going to be creating a pattern together. So if you are a beginner sewist, or if you want to get into sewing or start making your own clothes, I think this is the video for you. Or if you're interested in using commercial patterns, then this is the video for you as well. So let's get started. In this tutorial, we are going to be making use of the New Look pattern. This is the pattern company. It's called New Look. And there are several other pattern companies out there. If you haven't watched my video where I did a pattern haul and a fabric haul, please check the link down in the description below or at the top of this video. I picked this pattern because we have simple makes on this, like relatively easy makes, and I've already made this bad row, which I'll bring you a video about in a bit. So first things first, the first thing you will see on your pattern is actually the brand name. Like I mentioned earlier, on this one we have New Look. So you would find other patterns in the market. You could see Butterick, you could see Macaw, Simplicity, or Vogue, and there are several other pattern companies and even younger pattern companies that are sprouting every day. The second thing that we are looking out for is the pattern number. The pattern number here is 6233. Just in case you go looking for this particular pattern, you should be looking for 6233. You'll find it above here, and I think even at the back as well. Other pattern companies, you could actually see the initial of the company before the pattern numbers. So for example, if this was from Macaw's, you will see an M before the number, which will read M6233. In case you're looking to buy these patterns, you can check them in store at Walmart or at Joann's Fabric. I don't know if there are any other stores around that you can buy them from. And you can also just go directly online on the company's website. So for example, I got this one at newlook.com. So if you check online at New Look and just look for this pattern number, you should find exactly this pattern. I personally prefer to shop for my patterns online because number one, it's easier and I can do it from the comfort of my home, and sometimes you can get discounts online that you won't find in the stores. And hey, who doesn't like that? The next key thing to find on your pattern is the pattern size, which you will find on the top right. So on this pattern, it says that you can get an extra small to extra large from this, and we'll discuss how to find your size in a bit. You can also see the different things that you can make out of this pattern. So basically, you can make a bathrobe, you can make this t-shirt and this pajama pants and this pajama top as well. Another thing to note is that some patterns come in different languages. And with this one, you can get it in English, French, and Spanish, meaning that within the instructions, you will find instructions in all three languages. So if you're someone who prefers another language other than English, you should be sure to look out for this. Go ahead and flip the pattern over and get the information that is at the back. The first thing you notice is that we have the pattern number written again, 6233. On other patterns, you will find this pattern number together with the pattern price. Let me bring in a Macaw's pattern and show you that real quick. So this is a Macaw's pattern. You have the pattern number M7926, and we have the pattern price here, $21.95, and this is the pattern number at the back of this pattern as well. You should also find the number of pattern pieces that you would get in this pattern. So for this case, this is 18 pieces, meaning that 18 pieces of patterns which you can cut out is going to be able to make all the pieces that you find on this side of the envelope. Another thing that you will find is that we have the garment sizes over here as well as on the front side of this envelope. So we're going from extra small to extra large, and as you can see, we have the bust, chest, and hip measurements here. This is going to guide you to actually know your size. We are going to get there in a bit. I'm going to move on to the fabrics because I will need that to explain whatever thing we have in the middle here. So we have different types of fabrics that have been recommended for us to make these various garments. If you're new to sewing and you ever get confused of what fabric to buy for your project, you can just look at the back of your pattern. You will see a minimum of 4 different fabric types. There are always between 4 and 5 or 4 and 6 different types of fabrics that you can use for that project. And then you can walk into a store or just order your fabric online, and then you can do your project. How convenient is that? Some of the suggested fabrics that have been listed on here are cotton interlock and jerseys, fleece, silk and silk types, laundered cottons, and flannel. These are going to work well with these garments, but I'll personally buy cotton for this. So now you may be wondering which pattern size to buy or how to know your measurements on the pattern. I'm going to show you that right now. So basically you're going back to the size, right? And you're looking at what size you are. So I'm taking myself as an example. I normally wear an M, which is between 38 and 40. So I'm tracing all the way down to get my body measurements, right? And another tricky thing here, on this side, you see different letters A, C, D, C, D, and C. So these are the different letters that represent the different pieces that you can make out of this pattern. So I'm interested in making this backdrop, for example, which is a D. So I need my bust or my chest measurement. And it's telling me that if I'm making an M for myself, then my measurement is 47. And this is way, way bigger than my bust measurement. My bust measurement is actually a 38. So I'm looking for the figure which is closest to 38. And I'm coming down all the way to 39. Meaning that my size for this garment or for this backdrop should actually be an extra small. So it is very important and crucial that you take your measurements before diving into making any of these garments. I'm going to bring in the McCall's pattern again and show you the different measurements on that one. So here we go. Now, these are the measurements on the McCall's pattern. And on this one, my size is a size 8, which is right here. And the measurements that you need to take on this one is your bust, your waist, and your hip. Your back waist length as well. So for these ones, right, you're taking the highest points of your body and the smallest points of your body, and you're just comparing these measurements against whatever has been given to you here, seeing where these measurements fall closest, and that is going to be your size. The truth is that if you follow these exact measurements as they are here without taking your actual body measurements, your garment will most likely be running small on you. For example, my size is actually a size 8 and my bust measurement is actually a 38. But the bust measurement on the size 8 here is 31.5. This is way small. If I should sew this garment following the sizes which have been given to me here, it's going to run really tight. It won't even fit over my head. So I'm going to trace all the way where I will find anything closest to 38. So I'm going all the way and I have 38 under a 16. So basically when I'm sewing my garment, I'm cutting measurements that will reference the size 16. And looking at my hip measurement, under the size 8, it says 33.5. My actual hip measurement is a 40. So I'm going to trace all the way onto where I see anything close to 40. And I have an actual number here, 40, under size 16 again. And I'm looking at my waist measurement. My waist measurement is definitely not a 24. And it is slightly larger than a 30. I think it's about 32 inches. And so because I have the hip and the bust, which are the highest points of my body, I'm definitely going to be going with 16 because then it's going to cover up for my waist. I can make adjustments when I'm cutting out the pattern or when I'm sewing. Now let's go ahead and talk about all the numbers here in the middle. So I'm specifically going to refer to the garment number D because this is the one that I made, but the same explanation goes for the other ones, right? So for the garment D, we are looking for D. So you see 45 inches and 60 inches. What does this mean? This actually means the width of your fabric. I'll show you that in a second. Say for example that we had to use this fabric, right? You see that this fabric is actually folded. It's actually folded in half. And if I'm looking at the 45 and 60 inches, which is the width of my fabric, that means I have to unfold this fabric and I'm taking the measurement from this end all the way to this end. And this is going to be the width of my fabric. So if you get the correct width of the fabric, you have to decide if you're getting the 45 inches or the 60 inches so that then you can decide the right amount of yardage you're getting for your fabric. Now take for example that I decide to do the garment D. My actual size for this garment is an extra small, which we have seen wide before. And the width of my fabric is 45 inches. This will only mean that I need to get 3 yards and 7/8. So if I go to buy fabric, this is the amount of fabric that I'm going to be asking for. But if the width of my fabric is 60 inches, then I'm going to buy 2 yards and 7/8 of the fabric. It's a good practice to wash your fabric or to bring it in contact with water to see if any shrinkage occurs before you actually make your garment. So when going to buy your fabric, be sure to add half a yard to take care of this in case any shrinkage will occur, right? And then you still have enough fabric which will fit this measurement and be enough for your garment. The next thing we have here is interfacing. You can get interfacing in packets already pre-packaged for you, or you can get them on rolls just like fabric and take them to the counter and ask for whatever yardage that has been requested on the pattern. The next thing we're going to be looking at are the notions, and if you don't know what notions are simply the extra things that you need for the garment, and this could include zippers, button, thread, elastics, among other things. The notions for this garment or for this pattern have actually been stated over here, and they are core requirements. And it says that if you're doing the garment A and B, which is this one or this one, then you need 1 packet of hem tape. And if you're doing the garment C, which is the pant, then you need 2 1/4 yard of 1 inch wide twill tape and 1 1/2 yard of 1 1/4 wide elastic. The last important thing that you can find on the pattern envelope is the finished garment measurements, which this one doesn't really have. So I'm going to bring in my McCall's pattern again, and I'll be showing you that right here. So the finished garment measurements, this is a very important one, as some people just take the first measurements, right? When you take your bust, your hip and your waist measurements and then you just run with it. It is important that you look at the finished garment measurements. In our case here, I had actually made this particular garment for myself, and that was a size 16 as we had seen before. And I'm just basically going to be looking at the measurements for 2 and 5, which is stated here on the envelope. So if I flip it back, I'm looking for where I have 2 and 5 in this measurement. So the bodies, it says 1, 2, 3, and 4. They will measure respectively here. So on the size 16, I have a 32. This is not too far from my bust measurement. Now, looking at the skirt measurement, which is 5, this is a measurement for the hip line. So the measurement says 41 under the size 16. My actual measurement is a 40. Therefore, I have an extra 1 inch. If I do not want this, I'm going to be sure that I hold it in as an extra allowance so I can get my my actual measurement of 40. But I don't think 1 inch was an issue. So this garment fitted me perfectly well. So we've come to the end of the video, and that is basically what you need to know, just taking a first look at patterns. In our next video, we are going to dive into the actual content of the pattern, where we will actually be creating out a full pattern together. And I'm excited to share that with you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this content. Please like, share, subscribe, and invite your friends to join the family. Until next time, bye!